think we got to move along.
I believe we're live again. We are not very good at this. We are on location, and it turns out putting a computer in a blanket overheats the computer. Who knew? Where we left off, we were talking about the vibe in the arena. And yeah, I mean, it was, we talked about it. It was a home game essentially, and all that good stuff. So I kind of wanted to get to the actual game now. For lack of a better term, we're going to continue calling the core three, the big three. For those of you listening right now, and to those of you who listen eventually, please send us any suggestions for nicknames for D'Angelo Russell, Jordan Clarkson, and Julius Randle, as they are going to be cornerstones of the Lakers moving forward. So.
Oh, you're talking about those guys. I thought you were talking about us.
It is. I would not be included in the big three here, seeing as I just tried to blow up my computer.
It's true.
So, what were your impressions of RRC?
That's what we're going with, guys. We need help. Yeah, I thought they were really impressive. Despite the loss, like D'Angelo had 5 turnovers, so that's obviously not ideal. And like he mentioned after the game, which was encouraging to hear, that like he harped, he mentioned a couple times that there were like defensive lapses that he acknowledged like you could get away with in the NCAA, and that like that was one of the criticisms of him going into the draft, is that Ohio State really hit him on defense, and you can't do that as easily in the NBA. And so he just really seemed like it's something that he wants to work on, and he just said like little mistakes like that are the types of things that cost you games. So the fact that he's acknowledging it is good. So like, but all that said, he was still like really good. The Lakers offense looked way better whenever he was in the game. There were like quite a few people in the arena that were not very happy with Mark Madsen for continuing to play Dwight Bikes well into the fourth quarter with Russell sitting on the bench. And like Dwight Bikes continued shooting for some reason, even though Clarkson was on the floor. So that was, I mean, he was trying to show what he could do, I guess. But yeah, I mean, the two of them, and then Clarkson, like in the I wasn't even incredibly impressed with him except for his third quarter. It was really, he scored 9 points. He had like a couple dunks, I think. Yeah, he was like really impressive in transition. I don't know. What did you guys think?
Well, honestly, I thought Clarkson was the best player on the floor today. And to me, it's kind of a testament to the giant chip that's still on his shoulder from watching 45 players be drafted ahead of him.
And then get sold.
Yeah. And, you know, you can just tell that he was still, you know, he wasn't satisfied with his all-rookie first-team performance last year, that he's continuing to work hard and get better. And, I mean, his jumper looks more consistent. You know, he had shots from the three-point line, from mid-range. He attacked in transition. He was amazing. It seemed like every time he got a touch in transition, something positive came out of it. Whether it was free throws, an assist, a bucket, whatever. To me, he was the best player on the floor. Randle looked a little rusty, you know, just because it was his first game action in 9 months. So it's understandable, but physically he looked good. He looked really good. The leg didn't seem to bother him at all. It wasn't in his mind or anything. So then, you know, just what you talked about with Russell, he just did a lot of the little things, did a little bit of everything. Not great at any certain thing, but yeah, just did a little bit of everything. It showed flashes of brilliance.
His stat line would kind of point to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
He only had, he had the 8 points, and I believe it was 6 or 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals.
7 rebounds, I think.
Right. So, I mean, you're looking at, he's stuffed in the stat sheet, but yeah, I mean, it was kind of what we anticipated, where you had flashes of brilliance from Karl Anthony Towns and from D'Angelo Russell, but the guys who were most consistent on the court were the ones who've been there before. Right. And we talked about Jordan Clarkson already at length. You mentioned that third quarter. I think a big reason why he was so good in that third quarter was that they got out and transitioned so much more. I don't think it's without there's any question.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that he probably would have continued to roll well into the fourth quarter, but the game got slowed down so much by whistles. It was like the first 3 quarters, it was just like they were going by really quick, and then like all of a sudden in the fourth, it just seemed like every other possession there was a whistle, and I'm not saying I'm not trying to say the fix was in a summer league game or something. Like the whistles were both ways, but it just really disrupted the flow.
We are in Vegas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I don't think we could have asked for much more from the Big Three. Obviously, you would have liked the win, and obviously, you would have liked a little more consistent play from Russell. But he's 19, and it's his first NBA action, right? And you're looking at Randall, who missed 9 months, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Moving on to the other players, the more ancillary parts in the game. Talking about the Larry Nances, the Anthony Browns, who somehow led everybody in minutes. What
that really shows you the Lakers' dearth of small forward options.
Yes. Yeah. If anybody out there thinks they can play small forward, come on down to Vegas and you might get minutes.
Tweet us with the hashtag I can play small forward.
But yeah, I mean, I guess who impressed you the most of those ancillary parts? Would you say?
I mean, I was really impressed with Anthony Brown just because, he didn't have to force anything. Like Dwight Bikes was forcing just about everything every time he got the ball.
Dwight does bite.
And Anthony Brown, he basically was hidden offensively until he needed to show up. Like he would slide down to the corner, space the floor. I think he shot 4 of 8 from the field. I think he airballed his first 3, but it is what it is. But I mean, he just played a solid game. He only sat for 6 minutes, so. But you can see the potential there on defense because of his length and his size, and his shot is. It's pure, it's smooth, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I think he could be a really good 3-and-D guy down the line for the Lakers.
And then our resident superstar here got to talk, got to meet Anthony Brown, not face to face or not one-on-one, obviously, but
he got to know my phone.
Exactly. But you said there was a certain vibe that kind of came off.
Yeah, it just seemed like he just has this presence or charisma where he's just really happy. He's just a happy kind of go-lucky guy, and you could just tell everybody in the media was just kind of tired after the game, and it just seemed like when he came into the post-game scrum, everybody stood up a little bit straighter, just to lighten the mood. He just he has a smile on his face, and he had nothing but nice things to say about his teammates. And I think that at the very least he'll be a really good locker room presence.
Oh yeah, and he's smart about. He knows what his role is going to be. He's understood from day one. He's going to be a 3-and-D guy, and that's pretty much it. He's not going to.
That's pretty much how he described it after the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to see that. And then, in bigger news for the Lakers, they did move on and sign Robert Upshaw to a 2-year deal. The second year is fully non-guaranteed. This coming year is partially guaranteed. It seems like a good deal to me. It might feel kind of quick because of the timing. He only played the 1 game for them today, but it makes sense to me, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, he was really a crowd favorite. When he went to go check in, you heard the buzz from the crowd. Anytime he was guarding whoever had the ball, whether it was Towns, Adrian Payne, whoever, you could just hear the anticipation in the crowd. And anytime he got the ball, he was a fan favorite, and he played pretty well. There were some moments where he's a little heavy-footed, and it could be because of his conditioning, where he let a guy sneak in for an offensive rebound or something like that. But he had a couple sequences that he was just phenomenal. I think there was one rock shots, and that really got the crowd going.
Standing up.
And I mean, he did that. Jim Buss, Mitch Kupchak, those guys were all there in attendance, and I think they could kind of sense, how the crowd felt about him, and that kind of goes into it. And you want to get. I mean, he's like a late lottery type talent. He was certainly a first-round talent, and he went undrafted because of all off-court stuff. So to just lock him up before another team can get a crack at him, definitely the right move.
Yeah, the Willie Reed situation, right, with Miami, where Willie Reed stepped in, played really, really well in Orlando, and then Brooklyn swept in and took him from him. You mentioned the defense. Did you see anything offensively from Upshaw that had you pretty excited? They aren't going to need a bunch of them.
Yeah, I don't think they need a bunch. I mean, he had that one kind of turnaround jumper over Towns in the first quarter, but other than that, I don't even know if he shot or scored.
Right. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, but that was another one of those things like you were talking about, Gary. It really got the crowd buzzing.
Right. I mean, the crowd. I can't say enough, or we can't say enough about how great that crowd was.
It was legitimately a playoff atmosphere. It was not like, it doesn't feel like hyperbole to say that.
Yeah, and you know, here we are, the very first game of the summer league in Vegas. You know, moving on to, you know, kind of looking ahead to what we might see for the rest of the summer league, starting with tomorrow. You were in the locker room, and Julius Randle was not happy about not playing tomorrow, right?
Yeah, he just, when they asked him about not playing tomorrow, and he said something along the lines of like, you know, well, if it was up to me, I would be playing, or whatever. It wasn't like he wasn't like calling out Lakers management or anything. I think the guy he really wants to get out there and play. He missed 9 months, and like he probably felt like he missed a couple looks he'd like to have back tonight, and so I think he wants to go out there and show tomorrow that he can make them. But Mark Madsen mentioned that Randle was on a minutes limit, and that's why he only played 20 minutes. And so I think the Lakers, they see this guy as someone they want around for a long time, and they want to be careful with him.
Now, do you think there's an argument that can be made that maybe test him in a back-to-back situation now where there's no pressure and you can, you know, heavily manage his minutes, or do you think they're going about it the right way?
I mean, you can make an argument both ways about it. I think ultimately they're doing the right thing just because of the way the Lakers have dealt with injuries the past few years. I mean, like, extreme precaution is probably the best route to go. Just given our luck the past few years, we've had to call up probably more D-leaguers than any team in the league. So, yeah, I think it's fine. You know, the competitor in him obviously wants to play, but it's for a good cause coming off a serious injury like that. I mean, you thought that injury was devastating. If something like that happened again because you're overloading him too early, that'd be crushing for the entire family. So,
yes.
I think they're going about it the right way.
Yeah, and you know, there was that moment today, right, where Clarkson looked like he might dive into the bleachers, and both Garrett and I both sit there like, no, stop, you know. Garrett Beatty's getting his machete ready to chop off the wrong leg, but
Gary Beatty's not going to be a source.
I guess I'm split 50-50 on that decision. I could see, you know, maybe, you know, bringing him out there. Then he has 2 full days to rest. It might be selfish of me to want to see that. But, you know, the flip side of this is we get to see him play against Porzingis on Monday, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch too, right?
Yeah, that's probably a better matchup than Philly anyway, or a more interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely with his size and his strength against Porzingis and his length. That's going to be an interesting matchup. I can't wait for Julius to drive right at his chest and see what kind of explosion happens.
How far he goes.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting because they'll certainly be matched up against one another, and it'll be really interesting to see if he can get his jumper off because Porzingis is so long, and it seems like he keeps getting taller and taller every time you hear about him.
Yeah.
I think he's up to like 7'2", 7'3" now. So.
Yao Ming's telling him to stop drawing.
He's switching half-court shots on the regular, according to Chad Ford.
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be a fun matchup, and I think we're all looking forward to it.
Shout out to Fort Dingus. All right, so I guess, you know, tomorrow's matchup is going to be Philadelphia. Are we hearing anything about whether or not Jahlil Okafor is playing? I know there was some question. Bassini lobbed out that they might not. Have you seen anything?
I haven't heard anything.
As far as I know, he's playing. I haven't read too much about it, so we'll see.
I think tomorrow's matchup with, you know, today was obviously fun with Karl Anthony Towns, but being as the Lakers for a long time thought they were going to take Okafor, tomorrow could potentially be a little bit more provocative for the fan to say, wow, Okafor lights up the Lakers. Geez, did we make the wrong move? Or Russell turns it around.
They're going to be some hot takes either way.
Yes. So we're having a blast out here. It's been really, really cool. Harrison, you know, was walked in on a cloud. We just were able to pull him down and back into, you know.
I'm actually floating. This isn't a chair.
Yeah, and it's pretty. It's something to see. And you know, Gary and I had a blast out there, just sitting there as civilians. And you know, there's going to be a lot more fun to come. We're going to try to do these at least once a night. Tonight, we did it twice for now because we're overachievers. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, Las Vegas, for having us. Thank you, computer, for not blowing up. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Not awkward at all.